and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today as we learn how to automate your school using Microsoft 365. I'm Niall and I'm going to be joining you on today's journey as we explore how to use things like Microsoft Forms, Microsoft Excel. We're going to be having a look at using Outlook, and the last one we're going to have a look at today is Power Automate as well. These are all fantastic tools for kind of joining different applications together or just kind of supporting your workload and making things run in the background without having anybody needing to check them. So we're going to be having a look at how to automate your school today. So without further ado, let's jump straight in. I'm just going to disappear and I'm going to make myself a little bit smaller in the corner, and then you can see everything that I'm doing up here on the big screen. Throughout today's session as well, just as I remember there is a Microsoft Learn code as well, so I'm going to pop that up down at the bottom throughout today's session, so please do pop that into Microsoft Learn. It means that you've got evidence that you've taken part in today's session, and we've also got a survey for you to take part in at the end. We would really appreciate any feedback that you have for us. You can find us on Twitter at TA Scotland. You can find me personally at Niall Ridgway, let us know if you've got any questions from today's session, and so let's jump in and kind of let's start today's session. So I'll see you in just 2 seconds on the big screen. Okay, so here we are on Microsoft Forms. Now on the left hand side we've got our two options for creating a new form essentially. So we can either create a new form or we can create a new quiz. For this to be self-marking, it's going to need to be a quiz that we create, so we're going to be creating our new quiz from the left hand side. We do have templates over here on the right hand side as well if you are wanting to kind of get into using the templates, but for today we're just going to create our brand new quiz from scratch. Okay, so we're going to, first of all, same with every time, we're going to give our quiz a name. So I'm going to call it Maths Solve for X Quiz. Okay, just something nice and simple for our first kind of starting off with the quiz. Next, we are going to add in our wee theme just so that it looks nice. I'm going to go for some theme ideas. I quite like the pencils there. That looks quite cool. I do like that. Let's go with the pencils. So there's our theme. Now it's starting to look a wee bit more like a quiz or a form that your students would kind of typically answer. We're now going to start to add in our questions. So down here we can add in our questions. We've got loads of different options that we could add in. We could add in a multiple choice question, looks like these ones here. We could add in a text question where your students have to type in the answer manually. We can also add in a rating question as well. So how do you feel about a certain thing? Add new, we can add in the date, we can add new, we can put in ranking, we can add in a Likert scale, we can upload files, we can have a net promoter score, and lastly we can create a new section, which is kind of like a new chapter, so you can answer set of questions number 1, set of questions number 2, that kind of thing. But first of all, we want to find out exactly who has taken our quiz. So I'm just going to delete these just now, hit the bin to delete these questions. I'm going to go add new, and I'm going to add in text. So the first thing I'm going to ask is, what is your name? Okay, nice and simple. This one, we don't want it to be worth any points, and there are no correct answers for this one, so that's absolutely fine. We want to make it required though, so they have to answer this question, and that's us good for our first question there. Next, we're going to go add new, and we're going to start asking our questions to our students. So I'm going to go to choice, and down here on the right hand side we're going to select maths. Okay, so we're going to go kind of quite out there a wee bit. There's quite an incredible kind of maths, you'll see it in just a second. There's an incredible maths section here within Microsoft Forms for their quizzes, and you have access to all of these different maths functions. So I'm going to give my question a name, so I'm just going to say solve for X. Okay, and now we're going to go down to our maths section here. Okay, so X plus 4 equals 10. Okay, I'm going to hit OK, and now it gives me my recommended answer. So it actually ticks the correct answer for me. So x equals 6, x equals 14, or x equals 16. Now what I really like about it is that it gives you answers that your students might put it doesn't just give you random answers. So for example, it is x equals 6 because when 4 comes over here you minus that, so it's 10 minus 4 gives you 6, but the students might by accident add the 4 to the 10, so that gives you the 14. So it does give you kind of related answers. So I'm just going to hit add all. So now we've got all of our potential answers there for our students, and it even gives us the correct answer there. It's chosen it for us. If you do need to have another answer, all you do is you click on these buttons here, and then you can change what the answer is. We're going to change the point score here to 1. So now our students, if they get this correct, they will get 1 point. We can also, for each of these questions, have a message for anybody who chooses that answer. So we could put something like, not to right, try again, or something like, I can see what you did here, try subtracting. I've missed a T, haven't I? Subtracting instead of adding. Okay, so now we've got a little bit of feedback for our students as they're coming through our form. Now, like we said, everything is automated. We're wanting to make this as easy as we can for you. So when I go to add new, it gives me a load of recommended questions that we can now ask our students that are all related to this question here. So we've got solve for x plus 62 equals 71, solve for x, and all of these different answers that it thinks we're wanting to ask our students. Let's make our lives really easy, and we're just going to add them all in. There we go. Now we have what is your name, but we've also got 4 questions, actual maths questions, that all have the correct answer there for our students, and that we've barely had to do anything. So now if you really like what a question kind of looks like and how it feels, you can go duplicate up at the top and you can copy that question. So this is just a quick way of doing it. So let's change these. So I'm just going to delete these answers in here, delete, 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 and delete. And we're going to change this to 102, and we'll change this number in here to 12. Hit OK. OK, and now it's given us the answer again, so I can click add all to accept all of those questions' answers. And now when I go add new, it's got more recommended questions for me. So this is just a really quick way for you to populate a quiz for your students and kind of check on their learning. So now, once we have completed kind of everything that we're needing to ask of our students, we can go up to preview, and we can see exactly what the quiz looks like for them. So what is your name? Solve for X. We've got loads of different answers in there for our students to kind of work through. There's all the questions in there for your students. We can also add in a timer as well. So if I go up here to settings on the right hand side, we can come down and we can go to set time duration. Okay, so now we've got our timer up here, 30 minutes. I want to change this. We're wanting to have just an end of the day quiz for our students. So I'm just going to put in 5 minutes. So they've got 5 minutes to complete this piece of work. So now, when I come out here and going into preview, you'll see that we get this message at the start that says, hi, the name that you're logged in with. Once you start, you can't pause the timer. Essentially, it's a timed quiz. So when I hit start, up at the top you'll see that I've got my countdown timer, and it gives me the visual as well as it counts down from right to left, and when you get to a minute as well, it's going to give you a warning. You can minimize that and make it smaller as well if you want to, but yeah, I quite like having it up there at the top so it's got that nice visual for you. You can as well switch to mobile so you can see what it looks like for your students who are sitting it in mobile as well, if that kind of more suits the device that you are working on. So there we go, there we have our quiz. All we need to do now is we need to send that out to the right people. So I'm going to just go to settings, who can fill in. I'm going to go to anyone can respond. For me, you might want to change it so only people in my organisation can respond, and you can record their name as well. And you can choose between 1 response per person or 2 response, or like 1 or many, sorry, responses for everybody. But I'm going to go for anyone can respond. You can put in your start date and your end date as well, so this is great for automation. You can future plan all of the work that you are offering for your students. So for example, you could create this 3 weeks in the future, and then you just set your start date, when do you want them to be able to do it, set your end date, and then after that end date they're no longer able to sit that quiz. We can also shuffle the questions as well, so it's different for every student. And the last thing is you can get email notification for each response as well. So if somebody sits the quiz, then you will get an email to say that they have taken part in that quiz, and kind of here's your score, go and check out the responses. So that is how you can use Microsoft Forms to kind of support with automation. I don't have to mark this. It does everything for me. It's nice and easy, nice and simple. You can also do this for kind of your text questions as well. So I can go add new and I can go to text. Now I could add in a question such as let's go. I'm trying to think of a question here. So a typing question. What month comes after February? Okay, I'm gonna need a capital there. It's shouting at me. Let's. Oh, I'll just type in. It's because the big mouse, I'm not used to it. There we go, big cursor. Okay, so we don't want that to be a maths question, so we can turn that off, and we don't want a subtitle in there. So we just want our students to be able to answer that question. We want it to be required, and we want it to have the one be worth 1 point as well. So the correct answer for what month comes after February is March. Okay, so we can now add that as a correct answer. If your students maybe don't have you've recently been learning about capital letters, and so you're not expecting them to know to put in capital letters, you might want to start putting in other answers that, yes, they're correct, but maybe they're not fully spelt correct. You could have things like maybe one of your students calls it Marsh instead of March, and they've got the right answer, they just have spelt it incorrectly. That's fine. So there we go, we've got our 3 correct answers within there, and it's a required question. So that is how you can also use the text questions and have those correct answers there for your students. Okay, so now that a few of our students have filled in our quiz, we can see that we've got our responses tab now has a 2 up at the top right hand corner there. So we can see what their responses are and kind of what they have done and who's filled it in. The first thing you're going to notice, oops, sorry, I just knocked the microphone there, is open in Excel. So when I click that button, it's going to download an Excel spreadsheet that has every piece of data and information we could ever need. For ease, just now for the video, I have just pasted that into an online version of Excel there, and here you can see the data is, so like we've got an anonymous email, we've not gathered emails, total points, what is your name, Niall there has filled it in, we've got all the different answers for everybody, if we've given any feedback, and you've got the points score there as well, so you can count all that up. Now typically if we had done this previously, we would have to count up the total number of points for each student, but it already does that for us within the Excel, so it will give us total points there. It will give us start times and completion times as well, so if any of your students are doing they're learning asynchronously, you can see kind of when they've completed that work and how long it's taken them to complete it. You can also see who has done it and their exact answers as well. But there is a better and easier way to do this than using Excel. Okay, so you might have learned all your formulas previously and done all this yourself, but Microsoft Forms actually does it all for us. So if I close down this workbook here, you'll see here we have absolutely every piece of information and pre-created graphs possible that Microsoft Forms has given us. So working from left to right along the top, we can see there's been 2 responses. The average total score is 3.5 so far. The average time to complete is 22 seconds. It's currently active as a form as well, so they can still sit and take that form. I'll come back to review answers and post scores in just a minute. But as we come down, what is your name? Obviously that was worth 0 points, so that's fine. Solve for X, we can see that one person has got it wrong and one person has got it correct. So currently 50% of respondents have answered this question correctly. We can go into more details as well and see if you are logging names, exactly who's got it right and who's got it wrong. Yeah, it gives you your pre-created graphs already in there for you. So we've got this all the way down. So for example here, everybody's got it correct. You can also copy that image and you can paste into, if you're using a Microsoft PowerPoint and you're saving up all your data, you can copy and paste that graph in as well for all your data. And as we come down, even works for the word questions as well. So what month comes after February? 2 people have got it correct, so that is absolutely fine and grand. We've got more details as well in there. You can see the exact response that they have put in. Now, as I said earlier, we will come back to post scores, so we can review the answers for every single student. So respondent 1, respondent 2, you can see their name is in there, and you can give feedback to that individual student as well. And you can just click review next, always going through them all, so you can see exactly what they've done. If I go to post scores, now this is where you're able to share any data with your students. So if you don't want them to see their exact score after they've sat it, then you can change that setting, and then you can share that out with them afterwards. So I can go into anonymous 1, we know that that's Niall, and from there we can give feedback. We can just say something like, great work Niall, remember to, if I could spell, oh my goodness me, great work Niall, what is going on, come on, right, take 3. Great work, Niall. Remember to use a number line. Something along those lines. That's really surface level feedback. Obviously, you'll be giving more detailed feedback, more personalized feedback than that, but we can now give that feedback to our students, and we can also offer feedback on the individual scores as well. So for this question, I can say fantastic. Something along those lines. Obviously, you give greater feedback saying, I can see that you've taken the 4 away from the 10, that kind of stuff. We can also regrade our work. So if I come down to the question down the bottom, what month comes after February? They've put in March. If the student had spelt it incorrectly or had put any other variation on that, then you can adjust that auto marking as well. So you can change the point score in there. Maybe you've got a student in your class who you would be expecting to spell it correctly. I don't know what you would kind of do there. It's up to you, but you can change that score there for your students. So what month comes after February, you can change that, and you can give directed feedback to your students. Maybe you're getting them to fill in like answer a question. Maybe the point score is out of 5 and you're wanting to give them 4 instead of the auto-graded 5. You can change that yourself. So once we have done that, we can go back and then we can select all of our students there by the top, and we can hit post scores. And what that's going to do is it's going to send out a wee email to them all. It's going to let them know that they can then access their score, and they can see exactly how they've done on this quiz. So everything is done for us, which is brilliant. We're really automating a lot of stuff. Like we said, you can use Excel, you can use all your formulas to create all this data, add in all of your all of the graphs in there, but Microsoft Forms does it all for us. So let's kind of use that and save ourselves a little bit of time, and kind of allow the Microsoft products to give us even more data and kind of visualizations for that data that we can then use, and share that on with others. So that is Microsoft Forms and how you can automate a lot of your things within Forms. We're now going to take a look at Outlook. So I'm going to see in just 2 seconds when I've logged into Outlook. Okay, so here we are on Outlook, and we're going to be having a look at schedule sending. We're going to have a look at setting your out of office and automatically declining any invitations. And the last one we're going to do is we're going to have a look at setting up some rules for any emails that come in. So the first thing we need to do is log in to Outlook. Here we are on Outlook already, and from the left hand side, we're going to just head to new email. Okay, so here I am creating my new email. I might type in good morning, doesn't matter what's in there. Okay, and from there, once you've kind of added in who it's to, who it's from, then from there we would normally just hit send. But actually there's a little kind of drop down menu beside there, and we can now schedule send our email. So if you are a head teacher who is working sadly on the weekend, I know that the poor head teachers don't get a lot of time to themselves. So if you're working late one night, or if you're working over a weekend, then you are able to write your email and essentially hit send, but nobody will receive that until the next day. It also means that then you can go in and change anything if you need to as well, because it'll just be sitting in your outbox. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to customize the time. So at the moment, it's going to be sent right now. So what the time is it? It's just after 5 o'clock on a Friday, nobody's answering that email. So what I can do instead is I can set it to send for, let's go for the 31st instead. I'm going to send it for Monday the 31st. I know this is going out on Tuesday, but I've had to pre-record this. So it's going out on Monday the 31st, and it's going to arrive in everybody's inbox at 8:30 in the morning. So I'm going to hit send just now, and that's going to send it. Now what it's going to do is it's going to tell me that there's nobody to send it to, but that's fine. We're just kind of imagining here. So if I hit send, there you go. Message must have at least one recipient. That's fine. So that is how you can send your emails, and you can be prepared for everything that's coming up. So another application for this would be if you have an event, say, coming up on Friday, and you want to create a kind of list of emails to go out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday morning to remind everybody that the event is going on. What you could do is you could create your emails in one big bulk, go for it, and then schedule send each email to go out for a certain time on each day, just so that then you don't have to be actually doing that and sending that at that time. You can just send it, schedule send it, and then that's it, finished. So your life is that little bit more automated, and everything's that little bit easier for you. The next thing we're going to have a look at is how to set your out of office within the web version of Outlook. So I'm just going to close down this email here, and we're going to head up to the settings cog up on the top right hand corner. Okay, so from there we've got loads of different settings that we can play around with. I don't particularly like a focused inbox, but I know some people do, so it's up to you to do that. And also, if you ever have conversations or emails that are starting to group together, this is how you turn them off and on. So you can group your emails by conversation and show each message separately. I like show them separately personally, because then I can reply to each individual one. But I know people like conversations. That's absolutely fair. But we are wanting, down on the right hand side, we're wanting to view all settings. So now we get this massive box here that has everything that we could possibly ever want to do from within Outlook. Now, a few things to note. The first one is, if you are using Outlook as the app, the install, the kind of the Outlook, what am I thinking the word? The Outlook application that kind of sits down on your computer, then you will have different options to send to people. So one of those things that I was hoping to do today that's not yet available on the web app is to delay send your emails. So what you can do there is you can set up, so every time you send an email, it waits 2 minutes before it sends. I've got that set up just so that if I make a mistake, I can go back and have a wee play around with that. That one's a good one. But you don't yet have that within the web app. So just so you know, there are some differences between the web version and the application version. Have a wee kind of try out and see what works for you. I now tend to more use the web version, but there's those little kind of slight differences. You can, however, set a delay to your sending. So if I then head to compose and reply, don't know why that came out that way. From within here, you can add in your signature to add to the bottom of every email that you send. I guess that's kind of like an automation in there. But down here, you can also add on your undo send. So from here, whenever you send an email, you get 10 seconds to retract and undo that email. Just because I mean, we're all the same. We send an email, we go, great, that's away. Oh, I forgot to include this thing, or I forgot to add this person, or I've done something else. So if you are given those extra 10 seconds before it sends, I think that's a great thing for everybody. So that's within compose and reply, and then down here, down kind of in the bottom, it's pretty much near down the bottom. But one thing that I want to show you today is we're going for out of office. So to get to there, we are going to go to automatic replies. And from here, we're going to turn on automatic replies. So we want them to only do this during a set period. So for me, I'm going to do it, say that I'm off for the next, well, I am technically off right now. So Saturday all the way through until, let's go for Sunday at 11 o'clock. Okay, so during this time from the 22nd to the 30th, I'm away on holiday. I'm off, okay? So what I want them to do is I want to block off my calendar for this period, okay? So the title of my event is, say, Niall Holiday, okay? So I'm out of office, or you could put Niall out of Office. Okay, I want to automatically decline any new invitations for any meetings or any Teams video calls that we've got during that period. And also, if it's, say, like a really quick emergency, you're needing to dash off, you've not really got time to decline all the meetings, you can decline any meetings that you've already said yes to or that are already in your calendar. So if I click on this button, it's going to say which of these meetings do I want to decline. You can see I've got some meetings in there already, but you can decline and cancel any meetings that you've already created. Now from here we've got our message, so I'm going to put something along the lines of hello, sorry, I'm out of the office right now. I'll be back on the 30. I'll be back on the 31st. I had to double check there. Yeah, Halloween, the 31st October. If you have any important needing dealt with, please contact Pam. Okay, kind regards, Niall. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to send that to both people within my organization, so Control A, Control C to copy, and I'm going to send it to everybody who's outside of the organization as well. So that's inside and outside. And this one here, send replies only to contacts. So that one is if you know the person and they've already saved their contact, then it'll only send it to them. Okay. So from there, I can then hit save, and now once that goes through, perfect. There's my automatic reply already set up. So for during this time period, if I receive any emails, they're going to get these emails right in here. Okay, I'm going to block my calendar out for that period as well. Okay, so I'm going to save that. Perfect. So that is how you set your out of office and your auto replies in there. I'm just going to turn that off just now though. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the rules. Discard those changes there. And so from here we're going to add in an auto forward rule as well. Okay, so it might be that every time, so this is kind of more maybe aimed at your office staff, your administration staff, or maybe it's your head teacher that sends something out. So whenever an email comes in that's addressed to the head teacher or your digital member of staff or somebody specific, you can then pass that on and forward that on. Okay. I'm going to set it up for anything to do with the words power and automate, just because that's what we're doing next, will be forwarded on to Pam. So name your rule. So I'm going to call it Pam Power Automate. Okay, and from there we can start selecting our conditions and our actions. So add a condition. So when I receive an email that has the body contains the words Power Automate, or, so I just press enter to save that essentially, Power Automate or Power Automate. I just like to include them all just in case it doesn't go through that filter there. So if I receive an email that has the body includes the words Power Automate or Power Automate, then I want to add an action. So I want to then forward that to, and now we can put in Pam's email address. Okay, so there's Pam's email address has now been entered. We can add another action as well. So now I want to move that email to as well to a folder called Power Automate. Okay, if you need to create a new folder, you can do it from within there. So now every time I receive an email that includes the words Power Automate or joined together Power Automate, then it's going to forward that email onto Pam straight away, and I'm going to move that into a folder called Power Automate. I don't need to do anything. It does absolutely everything for me. We can also add in exceptions as well. So it could be if it's from somebody else, say if it comes in from Carol, then it doesn't do anything. It doesn't follow the actions up above. So you can add in exceptions as well. I'm just going to press the X to delete that. The last setting there, stop processing more rules. So if you've got tens, hundreds, thousands of these rules sitting there, then what you can do is you can say stop processing more rules. So if this rule affects other, or this email affects other rules as well, then if you've got that ticked, it's going to ignore everything else and it's just going to do this one here. Okay, so yep, I'm going to leave that ticked on just now, and then I'm going to save. So whenever I receive an email that has those words in it, it's going to automatically forward on. To edit it, all you do is you click on that pen tool there and you can edit it, or you can hit on the delete button to get rid of it as well. Okay, so that is how you do your auto forwarding. Like I said, it's really handy if you're, say, the admin role within your school and you're constantly getting emails that you're then having to forward on to other people. Set up a rule that it just automatically forwards on, saves you a ton of time, makes everything that wee bit easier for you. Okay, so next we're going to be having a look at Power Automate, as we've just mentioned. So I will see you in just 2 seconds once I've logged in there. Okay, so here we are on Power Automate. Now, Power Automate is this absolutely incredible function website tool that allows you to, it's kind of like a if this then that type application. So if something happens, then do this type thing. So we've got flows, and these are the flows here. It's essentially a kind of if such and such happens, do this, and then end the flow. Okay, so for example, we've got here post MSN weather updates to Yammer group every single day. There's one that I'm going to be having a look at later, and I've actually got it up there just in case it disappeared. So for example, at a certain time of the day, share the weather within Yammer, end of flow. Okay, so it's nice and simple, it's nice and easy. So it doesn't just work with the Microsoft tools either. You can use other kind of accounts to run this. So you can have your social media accounts, you can have other accounts as well. You just need to log in to that account from within the Power Automate platform, and from there you can start building whatever you're needing to. If you're really clever, you can start to kind of use it similar to Power BI and have it pulling in data from different places. You can have it creating these incredible kind of places that data can gather. And we've seen some fantastic things over the years with schools using that data and using Power Automate to basically automate a lot of the data kind of collection from within their school. So on the left hand side, this is where you're going to kind of start off for a lot of it. You can start to build kind of different data tables and these kind of things. You can also use the AI builder, which is really cool, but we are going to focus today on creating our own ones and basically using the templates. So you can go to create and you can start to create an automated flow. So that's just at this time or at when this action happens, do this. So you can easily do that. So you give it a wee name, search for any of the triggers, and then you can hit create. Or what you can do is you can find one that people have already created. So if I go to templates on the left hand side and then go to top picks, these are the most used flows that people have been using. So as we work down, you'll see there's 202,000 people have done this one. So follow up on a message. So for example, get reminded to follow up on a message at a time that you choose. So all you have to do is you have to sign in to Microsoft Teams, sign in with Office 365, and then you can start to create your flow. Okay, and it does everything for you. It automates automation for you, which is great. If I head back and go again to top picks, we can schedule a reply, which we've just done within Outlook, so you don't need to use Power Automate for that. You can do that from within Outlook. Start an approval when a file is added to SharePoint, save a message to OneNote. We've got things like click a button to email a note as well, nice and quick. Get push notifications when a blog is updated from Power Automate. Notify a team when planner tasks change status. There's loads of different things that you can use here. You can sort by name, publish time, popularity. You can also search. So I could search for Twitter, knowing that that's kind of one of the social media ones there, and we've got loads of different things that we can include from. Oh, didn't match any templates. What? Hold on. That's because it's the name. That's why. So if I go into templates and I search for Outlook, there we go. There's loads within Outlook. It's because people would put tweet instead of Twitter. Yeah, tweets. That's why. So you can search for different templates for automation as well from within there. So you can there's honestly thousands of different things you could do. I could not show you them all. Today we've just got that short period of time, but I wanted to show you that you can do everything from within here. And it's not big and scary, it's nice and easy to do. So here we've got, I'm going to do one post MSN weather updates to a Yammer group every single day. So all you need to do from within these, it'll tell you to log in. So all you need to do is click sign in to both of them. And then once you've done that, you're just going to hit continue. And now we can kind of set the time frame. So every 24 hours, I'm going to change that to, let's set it to every 48 hours. Okay. Just for example. So you can change how often these things are done as well. So you can enter your custom values. Then we're wanting to get the forecast for today. So the location search query. So I'm going to search for, oh, thank you. That's fine. We're going to search for, let's just go for Edinburgh. Okay. So location Edinburgh and the units. There's no dynamic content available, so that is fine. We're going to do it in degrees. Where is that on the keyboard? Maybe it's just Celsius. Okay. So there we go. Now we've got our forecast. We're going to post the message to the group. So the group ID. So this is any groups within Yammer that you use. I've not got a group ID created, but that's fine. And the message text is then today's forecast from MSN Weather at location Edinburgh. High and low temperature, high or low, chance of rain, conditions, all of these different things. And then from there, you can just hit save, and it's going to save your flow. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to find a group ID. So just give me 2 minutes there. Okay, so now that I have my group's ID, I should be able to hit save. It's saving. It's working fantastic. My flow is ready to go. We recommend you test it. Fantastic. Okay, so now every single day, every 2 days, then it will start to send the MSN weather updates to my group in Yammer. There's my group in Yammer. There's nothing in it at all. There we go. It's worked. Today's forecast from MSN Weather for Edinburgh. High low temperature. Okay, so it's done it in Fahrenheit. That's fine. I need to go back and change that to Celsius. Chance of rain, I think that's 2%, which is quite good. In Edinburgh, partly sunny, a wee bit light rain. Perfect. So that is how you can use Power Automate to kind of create a flow and to automate your life. So it's really exciting. There's loads you can do. I'm going to see you in just 2 seconds up on the kind of I said the big screen when I was going little, but I'm going to say the big screen in just 2 seconds. I'll see you there. Okay, so there we go. Thank you so much for joining us for today's session on how to automate your school using Microsoft 365. Please do, while it's in my head and I remember, please do remember to add your Microsoft Learn code for today's session, which is 59LPLD. If I've got that wrong, I'm going to flash it up along the bottom anyway, so you'll be able to see that. So thank you so much for joining us. We've looked at loads of things today. We've looked at creating Microsoft Forms quizzes that are self-marking, so you don't even need to do anything. You can pull all your data from the self-marking quizzes as well. So you've got access to graphs, you've got access to data on how long it took your students, how many have done it, the average time. You've got things like who got how many questions right, what the kind of main issues were. You can send it all out to your students. It'll self-mark. It'll do absolutely everything for you. So we've got that automation kind of built in there. We talked about Excel as well, and that you can do all those things, but Forms will actually do it for you. So might as well make the most of that. We had a look at Outlook as well. So we had a look at schedule sending all your emails, so you can preload them and do them all. We also then had a look at setting your office out of hours as well, so it'll do loads of stuff for you there. It'll also send emails for you there, and then your email forwarding as well, so it'll send on if you receive a certain email with somebody's name or with a certain keyword, you can auto forward that on to them. Then we had a really quick look at Power Automate. Now there are so many things that you can use Power Automate for, whether that is receiving emails, creating flows, bringing together data from different places. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. So please do go and have a look for your school, for your business, whatever you're watching today from, and go and have a wee think about how you can use Power Automate to support either your students or your peers or your co-workers. It really is a great tool, especially kind of from the data aspect. Building those flows just makes everything so much easier. So thank you so much for joining us today. There is time now for you to go off and complete the survey. I'm going to flash up the link to it down below here so you can go and get that done. We really appreciate any feedback you can give us. It all helps out, so please do let us know what you've learned from today and how you found today's session. Please do apply your code to Microsoft Learn. I think it was it 59LPLD? Could be wrong. I'll flash it up at the bottom anyway, so you can go and kind of check that out. And yeah, so thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that you've at least learned something new, or you've taken something away from today's session. And yeah, please do let us know on Twitter if you have any questions, and let us know if you've enjoyed today's session or if you're watching along as well. Thank you again for your time. We'll speak to you again soon. We've got loads of other sessions coming up, so I'll see you there. Cheers. Bye.